Admittedly, many believers, both Jewish and non-Jewish, confess to having a superficial grasp of the subject of sacrifices and atonements when compared and contrasted to the once and for all sacrifice of Yeshua, our Messiah. While not exhaustive, these short YouTube videos on the topic of sacrifices are nevertheless meant to hopefully nudge the average Christian towards a deeper and greater appreciation for this central part of our Bibles. Short Questions, Short Answers by Torah teacher Ariel and eBible. They bring lots of questions and I bring some of the answers, and hopefully my answers are accurate. Here's our question on the table for tonight. If the Jewish people do not offer on animal sacrifices, how do they believe they can receive forgiveness from God? No blood, no animals. Are they being forgiven? Well, even though I'm a Messianic Jew, that is one who's embraced his Messiah Yeshua Jesus, allow me to speak as a traditional non-Messianic Jew for a moment in order to answer this question that we've posed. Please don't get confused, people. I don't reject Messiah's atonement for my sins. This is only a general answer from a traditional Jewish perspective. So we're going to hop through some general Jewish questions and standard Jewish answers. Question: how do Jews obtain forgiveness without sacrifices? This is a big question that many Christians try to wrap their mind around. What do the Jewish people do today without the animal sacrificial system? Here's one of the answers. Forgiveness is obtained through repentance, prayer, and good deeds. In Jewish practice, prayer has taken the place of sacrifices. In accordance with the words of Hosea, we render instead of bullocks the offering of our lips. That's Hosea 14:3. And Judaism likes to note that the KJV translates this verse somewhat differently than the way traditional Jews translate the verse. But while dedicating the temple, King Solomon also indicated that prayer could be used to obtain forgiveness. That's 1 Kings 8:46 through 50. They go on to say that their prayer services are in many ways designed to parallel the sacrificial practices. For example, Judaism has an extra service on Shabbat to parallel the extra Shabbat offering that we read about in the Torah. It's important, Judaism says, to note that in Judaism, sacrifice was never the exclusive means of obtaining forgiveness, was not in and of itself sufficient to obtain forgiveness, and in certain circumstances was not even effective to obtain forgiveness. This is their answer. Second question: but isn't blood sacrifice required to obtain forgiveness? This is kind of a Christian way of viewing the topic that at hand today. And so we need to address this question as well. Their answer is no. Although animal sacrifices is one means of obtaining forgiveness, there are non-animal sacrifices as well. And there are other means for obtaining forgiveness that do not involve sacrifices at all. So non-animal offerings were made available in the Torah. Besides prayer, mere study of the sacrifices, Judaism says, mere study constitutes participation. We just have to study the sacrifices in order to participate. The passage that people ordinarily cite for the notion that blood is required for sacrifice is Leviticus 17:11, which reads, quote, "For the soul of the flesh is in the blood, and I have assigned it for you upon the altar to provide atonement for your souls. For it is the blood that atones for the soul," end quote. So this is a very familiar passage out of the book of Leviticus, and it seems to be what Christianity calls a chair passage, but Judaism differs with the context of the passage. What do they say? The passage that this verse comes from is not about atonement, Judaism says. It is about dietary laws. And the passage says only that blood is used to obtain atonement, not that blood is the only means for obtaining atonement. See how they skirt around the passage. Again, these are answers from a traditional Jewish perspective. Their translation is that this verse could be paraphrased as, quote, "Don't eat blood because blood is used in atonement rituals, therefore don't eat blood." Check out my podcasts, which are available on iTunes. You can search for me in the store under the search term Ariel HaNavi. But if you prefer to watch your theology, check out my YouTube channel, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and click the bell for notifications. New content is added weekly or even daily.